Hey, this is Justus Lacewell from Justus The Limits, and I'm on Rock Paper Podcast, back again with the man, Mr. Shane, coming at you live and direct.
Rock Paper Podcast.
Scissors beat paper, paper covers rock. Rock beats scissors, Shane covers non-stop. Never know what new kind of guest that he's got coming at you. Live and direct on the spot, could be rock, folk, country, or hip-hop, jazz. All kind of folks that he has. Could be an artist or a comedian to make you laugh on the
Rock Paper Podcast.
double-decker fudge round, rolling round town. Shane coming at you live and direct from ground zero. He's your hero, he's your bestie. Rock Paper Podcast with Shane Presley.
Rock Paper Podcast.
Hey, everybody. Shane Presley here, Rock Paper Podcast, hanging out on Zoom with Justus Lacewell. Welcome back to the show, man.
What's up, man? Been too long.
Yeah, way too long. Excuse me. It's just funny that we've been talking all this time and I was fine. And then as soon as I hit record, then I started.
Exactly. It's always like that.
But I was thinking, so I looked it up. That was August 2017. You last appeared on the show.
Yeah.
And you and the band rolled through town. We recorded here at my home and in St. Louis. And I don't know. That was like that was the first we met. I think we've been talking a little bit online, but we just became fast friends that day, and we've kept in touch. But unfortunately, that was the last time I really got to see you. We a
lot has gone down between 2000.
Well, yeah.
No, yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So that's what's cool about this, man. Just having this opportunity to catch up and hang, and we got a lot to talk about with you and the band. And I guess let's start because I haven't really got your take on it. But since we last spoke, you guys did a whole name change and everything too. So now the band is Justus The Limits.
Yeah.
And you guys used to be formerly known as Rastasaurus, which was what the project we talked about, but it's still, I guess, all the same guys, just new name, right?
Yep. Yeah. It's all the same guys. COVID kind of gave us an opportunity. We had a lot of time off for the first time, and we've been wanting to change the name for a while, but there just wasn't an opportunity because we were booked so solid the whole time that it was going to be the big fear is that, we were going to lose, fan base by doing that because now they won't know who they are and everybody's expecting this band. And we had gigs booked, 6 months ahead of time, but COVID was like this big eraser came through your schedule for it. And
the Great Reset.
Yeah, the Great Reset. And so it was a good opportunity for us to actually do that. And, Rastasaurus was great, but it kind of pigeonholed us into people just assuming we were a straight reggae band. And we play a lot of like classic rock feels, a lot of jam rock. And we're not just straight reggae. And, we were kind of getting some flack from some people that were saying we were being disrespectful, but it was really just kind of the hanger-ons that were giving us that flack. The actual reggae bands that came through town loved playing with us, and like Steel Pulse, the Wailers, all those dudes were like completely fine with the name. But, as always is the case, the periphery of the scene that wants to be heard more will start talking really loud about things. And so that was always a bore to have to just be like, listen, do you think I'm singing with a fake Jamaican accent? No, I'm just trying to play music and this is my band name.
Right.
So there was that going on. And then, it was kind of like a name that, I always describe it as like the only people that complained when we changed the band name that thought Rastasaurus was the great name was my 12-year-old nephews and extreme elderly parts of our fan base. It was a name that was very cute. And it's like, that's not what you're really wanting to go for,
Right.
Started that band when we were 23. I was 23. The twins were like 21. But yeah, that was a good name then, but we kind of outgrown it, and we needed to take it to kind of the modern era and kind of make it more able to kind of cross a lot of different genres without any kind of, you know, an eye askance or anything.
Yeah.
So, yeah, so it was good too. And then as my personal career progresses, you know, I realize that, you know, we're all getting older and everything. And eventually, you know, as the songwriter and singer, eventually, you know, I will have to kind of go my own way as the rest of the band makes families and moves out of state or whatever, you know. I saw that future coming because I'm 36, you know, who knows when that will happen, but it will allow me to never have to rebrand again. It'll always
Right.
be Justice into something. So it's not like I have to start over that traction. Now it's Justice into something, and it could just be Justus Lacewell into something, something later, you know, but it's still under that same flag, and it's still going to be able to be easily associated with it.
Mhm.
And so, yeah, it was just time. And, we had like a whole, you know, we had a whole process, you know, our band is very, kind of scholarly minded Mizzou kids and Connecticut kids. And, we had a whole spreadsheet situation going with these band names, and
Yeah.
everybody had a column and X's on it and all this stuff. And we went through this glossary of, recording studio terms. And, you know, and it was like Justice into compressors. I think Justice into kicks was another one, like kicks as shoes. And then Justice into limiters, Justice. So we went through all this recording software and, glossary. And, you know, the limits kind of came out of that from limiters, but Justice and the limits.
Yeah, man.
And then ironically, we got a very hot, possibly drunken Instagram message from Rick Levy of the Box Tops. And he really wanted us to know he was Rick Levy of the Box Tops because he put Box Tops in all caps. And he was like, and they did that song, Ain't Got No Time for a Fast Train, I'm a Coming Home. So that was back in the day. So this guy hits us up on Instagram and he's like, hi, Rick Levy here from the Box Tops. And just want to let you know, I've had the limits under copyright 1966. So hope you can find a new moniker. Bye. And then he sent us this like super old, like old dude email from like a Comcast account or something, you know, and reiterating the same thing. And so I called a lawyer up and he was like, yeah, he's not even registered with the trademark on that or anything. And, but it was funny. That guy only knew how much I loved that song when I was like 12 years old and would sing it at the top of my lungs.
Yeah.
And now he's like, you know, bitching at me about this band name. It was surreal and hilarious and just kind of like, oh, come on, bro. Like,
Yeah.
same time, like this dude. Yeah, it was funny. It was just like a slice into his mind almost. But so that was funny. That was, but as you always say, you know, if you got haters, at least somebody's listening. So.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. At least you got his attention, you know?
Right. That's like the Fetty Wap thing. Like, we ain't got haters. We just call them fans, you know?
Right.
So, yeah. But yeah, so Justice in the Limits, we call it JADL for short, but it's been going strong for a year and a half now or so. And it's been really refreshing, like a new brand, new logos. And, like I said, it's not hemming us in to anything. I feel like it's made it a little more difficult in the local Denver scene to reiterate that we are a reggae band, because I think some venues kind of assume we're a different band, but it's the same members. It's just the same material. It's just a different face, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So,
Yeah. I mean, I think it's like you're saying about the songwriter thing. I mean, we saw like you know, Jason Isbell was like the 400 unit, and like now he just goes by his name, and he still has the 400 unit there, but it's like, but now he's just branded as his own name. And you see a lot of that kind of stuff, like you know, where it makes it easier for branding wise, and you know, and everything else. Like, so I do think maybe that was a good move there. And
yeah, there's a palpable difference between the bands that have like a songwriter that brings like a skeleton of a song
right.
to the band and they arrange it, or the band, like, you know, like a lot of jam bands that will sit in a room and write together, you know. And so I think it's, you know, it's just like it happened with all kinds of songwriters in the past, like Jason Isbell, like Paul Simon was the one I always describe, you know,
Right.
or like Graham Parsons and the Byrds, you know, and then like all of a sudden he's just Graham Parsons, you know, because like, but that if you have those the songwriter kind of format where there's a guy with a guitar sitting on a couch writing songs, and then you flesh those songs out at practice, as opposed to everybody sitting in a room writing the whole thing together, then yeah, I think it's a very logical thing eventually that always happens with the songwriters, that they kind of like after the band disbands or whatever happens, you know, they'll remarket Bob Marley and the Wailers. Lionel Richie did it with, I believe it was the Commodores. Curtis Mayfield did it with the Impressions, and just kind of happens, you know.
Yeah.
And then yeah, then you don't ever have to rebrand that again. Yeah, you're kind of towards the top then.
I went through a lot of that kind of discussion too, like even naming this show and stuff. Like I was, you know, I never really wanted it to be like the Shane Presley Show or the St. Louis Music Podcast or something like that. I didn't, because again, you don't want to ever like be kind of this one lane. You want to be able to, you know, I expand and do other stuff. So I get kind of getting away from the Rasta, you know, strictly reggae kind of influences and stuff. Like you guys like to do a lot of different stuff. So now you don't have to worry about people thinking you're only, you know, one thing.
Well, it's also hard to do too if you're like, if you naturally like, of course, as performers, we all like to hear ourselves talk, but if you naturally don't like to be seen as like, oh, he's so full of himself, it's Justus and the Limits, you know, like it was really hard for me to be like, well, let's put this under my name. As much as I wanted to, it just seemed like arrogant, you know, and it was like really hard for me to accept that I wanted to do that, but it was hard for me because I thought it looked kind of cheesy for a long time, you know, and it's like, I don't know, you just kind of have to nut out, like step out there on the diving board a little bit. But ultimately, I think now, and with the feedback we've gotten from it, it was a good decision.
Yeah, I put it off for a long time. Like I had people suggesting like you should. I never like wanted me. Like I am the host of the show, but I never wanted to be about me. I wanted to be about the music kind of thing. And it's just how I approached doing this and stuff. But I was like, I had people like, hey, you should put your face on a shirt and stuff. And I'm like, nah, I'm not going to do that. And like, you know, and then I put my face on a shirt and it became my biggest selling shirt and stuff. Yeah. And I also put my face on a shirt in a Little Debbie outfit, and I sold a ton of those and stuff. So so maybe there is something to it, you know, like actually kind of going against what I think is right, and like, you know, taking a shot, and so I totally relate to that.
Well, speaking of the shirts, now the real Achilles heel of putting your name on a band is now I can't wear that shirt because I name on it, and then I just look like those sixth graders on South Park that have their own faces on their shirts, you know.
Right. Yeah.
You're just like, oh my god, I got one. I was like, well, I'll never wear that.
Yeah.
I can't do it. Can't be that good.
Yeah, I have them, but I hardly ever you know, wear any of my own shirts out. Just you know, I love seeing them, but I'm with you. I'm not really the type to wear my own shirt out.
Yeah, I like those shirts. I wear it all the time though.
Yeah. Yeah, you said that's how this all started. You put it on. You're like, oh, I need to hit him up.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm glad it's working still.
Yeah, still got one little hole in it, but you know, with my track record on things, that's doing pretty good. It's still pretty pristine.
Well, maybe I'll get you a fresh one here soon.
I like that one you put up on the internet a couple years ago. You were doing some more colors, and it was like the Mardi Gras purple and yellow colors.
Yeah.
That's sharp colors there, man.
Yeah, I tried a bunch of different colors and patterns and what, you know, just to try to see what sticks, and it's just fun. I mean, to play with it, you know, different things and see what people respond to.
Yeah, you never know, man. You never know what the merch people buy is.
Yeah, right. But so we got everything switched over now. Like I said, it's been a year and a half or so, and but you guys are busy recording. We got some brand new music. We have a one that just released a couple of weeks ago, I guess, called Fear.
Yeah. And
you were we kind of, you know, we had a nice time catching up before we hit record, but you were telling me that This is a first for you guys, right? This is like all first one all in house.
Yep, first one all in house with the full band playing on it. We'd had a single we dropped before Hot RX that I had played almost all the parts on and kind of self-produced and had used like a drum loop that I had like purchased, the rights to.
Yes, I'm feeling hot, hot, hot around the collar. My skin it burns right on through, and from the top, yeah, to the bottom of my dollar. Tell me, doctor, what am I to do? Do you know when you look at your life, all that you've got, all of your time? Do you know what is good for you? If it looked at you, if it reached for you, yeah, luck of the draw. Doing my thing, we gon' do this right, yeah, see what the future brings. Yes, I'm feeling hot, hot, hot around the collar. My skin it burns right on through, and from the top, yeah, to the bottom of my dollar. Tell me, doctor, what am I to do? There she goes, and she's looking at me. Woman of mine, yeah, you're good to me. And I started seeing, and I started feeling. Woman of mine, yeah, you're good to me. Yes, I'm feeling hot, hot, hot around the collar. My skin it burns right on through, and from the top, yeah, to the bottom of my dollar. Tell me, doctor, what am I to do? All I needed was love. Yeah, you gave it a home. I can believe it now that I know I wasn't meant to be alone. Yes, I'm feeling hot, hot, hot around the collar. My skin it burns right on through, and from the top, yeah, to the bottom of my dollar. Tell me, doctor, what am I to do? Yeah, what am I to do? Yeah, 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 yeah. Oi, oi. What am I? What am I? What am I to do?
And but this is the first one where we went to the studio and got the raw tracks on the drums, because it's really, I can't, record drums in this bedroom. And so got the raw tracks on the drums and the bass. And then got those as wave files and then recorded everything else. Eric's guitar solos were recorded right here. The guitars and the vocals were recorded right here. And, but it's our first foray. You know, we've been really struggling with releasing music because it's so expensive as kind of like a JV type of band to release music. If you don't have all this income coming in, $50 an hour, $30 an hour, that just to turn knobs, that gets expensive really quick. Like the tracking is necessary, but the mixing time on that is where you really start eating up some time. And, you know, unfortunately you find yourself saying things are good enough. That's good enough. We have to move on, you know, and I always really hated that because like you only release these songs once. And if it's just good enough, you're going to hear that as an artist the rest of your life and be like, oh, you know, and so this was the first time, and I purchased some like analog style or actual analog hardware gear from the Swedish company called Golden Age Project. And they basically take 60s and 70s studio analog recording gear and they break it down, clone it, and reissue it with as close to the original components as they can at fractions of the cost. And so you can get a really nice, like pretty much full studio setup through them and for mixing. And so, yeah, that was really liberating because now I can sit in there and turn those knobs as much as I want to turn them and get everything just right. And it really allowed us to really flesh these songs out. And the whole band was able to just kind of adapt to this new method. And the best thing about it is you can save so much money doing it yourself if you're able to get the product that you want, that it then frees up money for other things like merch, van repairs, you know, like all this other things you didn't have money for before, advertising on social media. And so it really allows you to kind of move that money around and use it, wield it more effectively while getting a better musical product out of it. And so, yeah, it was really liberating to do that. And then we just had to send it off to mastering. Our buddy, Josh Fairman, Poison Sun Squabby is a bass player, also an engineer at Scanhope Sound. He mastered it, bumped it right back over. And yeah, but it's been really, really amazing. And, it was a process to learn how to mix, you know, especially with using plugins and stuff. I didn't really like using audio plugins. I like old cars. I like old guitars. Yeah. I like knobs that turn, you know, and so, I've been hanging out with this group called the Autos. That is a production crew here in Denver that makes, beats for Jamaican musicians, and they're on Easy Star. And, I was hanging out, and Ian, former Tatanka guitar player, was doing all this production, and I started like kind of picking his brain and seeing what he was doing. And, you know, I'm very thankful to that experience because it allowed me to see that I was able to do it. Like these guys are doing it right here. I can do that too. And so I got into and really knuckled down, and it was like a hard, like, you know, 3 or 4 months where I really learned how the gear works and learned all the ins and outs of the, you know, DAW and everything. And at the end of it, came out with this wonderful set of gear and all this analog stuff, getting the hardware analog sounds that I really enjoy because I love listening to old music, and being able to do it all myself for basically zero money and releasing a product that I feel is the best product we've ever released as a band.
I couldn't
And so it was hard, but it's so fulfilling.
Yeah.
And really proud of the dudes too. We just came over here and knuckled down, got Sam Niehaus sitting in here right next to me with the headphones on while Eric's ripping guitar solos out there. And we're talking about things we're hearing on the track and get him in here. And it's like, Sam, how do your drums sound? He was like, we want to mix his drums a little different. I got some notes, and we come in here and it was really cool to hear how a drummer thinks about how his drums sound. He's like, I want to hear my snare like it's right here, like right where it's at when I play it, and figuring out what that means, because you always have to translate from any other person of what the words coming out of their mouth actually means in their brain, So, and that's a disconnect with a lot of people playing to get music together. It's like, you just have to learn how to communicate. And like the word that someone uses for a sound might be like sloggy or something. And you're like, what? It's not even a word. What does that mean? But it was really, eye opening and liberating. And it's been really quite amazing. Getting a really good product. And then, Mark, our bass player, did the graphic design on the cover. So we did that in-house too. And it all kind of just came together. And so, we have 3 or 4 more singles that are in the process, like this one has missing guitar solos, but has rhythm guitars, needs the vocals, needs the drums mixed. Okay. This one has everything but the Hammond organs. This one has, and so one by one, we can just sort of keep popping these out, because the modern musician release game is content. Like singles are almost more valuable than a concept album, right? Unless you're King Gizzard and you're like putting out like 12 albums a year or something. Yeah. Like the singles ensures you just have content, which is same with the podcast, being seen on social media as like a new content. It keeps it looking like you're pertinent, and so,
sure.
It's been really, quite a process, and it's been really fun, and I'm really happy with how it's been working out. And the Single Fear really, I felt like came together. We had our old keyboard player, Ryan from California, send us keyboard tracks, and I was able to mix those in. And, it's really cool the internet, home studio recording technology being so available, and us being able to communicate so readily over email and share files has really made it this like whole kind of like friends club recording process, where you're like, I know a guy that can play bitchin' guitar in New York, best slide player, like, well, get him in here, and you send him the track and send it back, so it's really cool. Yeah. It's
man.
Quite a process, but it worked out.
Yeah. I got a buddy, Anthony Russo. He's doing more country music, but he just recorded a track, and I forget the guy's blinking on his name now. But like, the guy's a shredder on guitar, played on all kinds of like your favorite 90s country songs or whatever, plays hot, lead on all these songs. And, but he was like, found out he could just, hire him to do a studio session to lay down some leads on his, track, and Venmo'd him, and he, did it all from the studio, and it turned out great. And it's just cool that we have, these, especially, he also did that during, pandemic and everything. So everybody was just sitting at home. So it was good. People were more accessible than ever. They were just stuck at home with nothing to do. So
yeah, the pandemic definitely made home studios better.
Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah. So anyway, I just think that's, like you're saying, it's cool that you can just kind of reach out, have an idea, and you can reach out to friends across the country to deliver for you.
As long as they can give a clean signal, because that's really the game. If you can get a clean, high quality audio signal, you can affect it all you want. I can run it through this gear and put it through the compressor and EQ it, run it, put a little reverb on it, but as long as that clean signal is there with no pops or hisses and it's not clipping, then you can turn it into a track that sounds as good as any recorded studio track, as long as the signal is high quality and clean. That's just the game. As long as you can provide that, you can record in the modern era.
Yeah, man. Well, tell me a little bit about Fear. This is, it's a funky track, man. It sounds really good. I love the way, mentioning the keys. I love the way it kind of starts with the piano tones and then switches and stuff. Like I thought that was really cool, and real tasty guitar solo in there and stuff. So
Thanks, man.
this is really a fun track, man.
Yeah, thanks, man. Yeah, that piano intro, I wasn't expecting that at all. Ryan sent me those tracks, and I like load them up, and I'm like, what do we got, and so that piano, I was like, oh, oh, snap,
Yeah.
So it was fun, and that was cool too because you can cut parts out of the whole track. They're all at the right tempo. You can cut parts out of them and like, okay, I want to use this organ part that he thought was going to be at the end, but it sounds really good in the second verse. You can move that around, and all this stuff. But yeah, Fear is pretty good. I wrote the song. I've been playing it for a little while now. I wrote it. I was at a time in my life where I was kind of struggling with being a musician and kind of sacrificing a career and a job and all this stuff, which I thought I needed, it was like I was having a hard time making ends meet because I was spending all my money playing music and going to shows to be seen in the scene. And I wasn't making a lot of money at working hourly at what I was working. And it was there was a big impasse there. Like before I started my landscaping business, there was like a big impasse mentally. It was like almost like a block that was like, how do you make this work? Like, how do you get out from under this? How can you be a musician? How can you, reconcile all these schedules? And it was, so the song I think is a lot about that. And then songs kind of fall into place and make their own meanings a lot. And looking back at it, I didn't realize as much when I was writing it. Looking back at it, it's a perfect synopsis of that feeling where it's like, yeah, you are afraid to kind of step outside your box, but you got to step outside your box and be uncomfortable in order to reach a higher like plateau, or in order to reach, and to the level you want to get to. But it's like with all things, especially with all kind of decisions like that, like my life philosophy is like, you got to take risk, but they got to be calculated risk. But there's always a little risk before you can, get upward. There's a little risk to take, and it's kind of like being on top of that cliff at the river when you're a kid and deciding to jump off of it, But so the fear kind of resonates about that, and it's like you got to step out, from the light, you got to get out there into outside your comfort zone, And I couldn't do it, I couldn't see it, couldn't believe. That was really kind of verbatim the thought in my mind there. But yeah, track came out great. Eric's guitar solos are great. He gets like the second half guitar solo is really nice and proggy, and it kind of showcases a little bit more of our little edgier rock kind of feel. And the guys played excellent on it. Really great playing and really great tones. The drums were recorded at Soco Sound Studios in Pueblo with Mark LeBlanc. He's a drummer himself, so recording drums with a guy that plays drums as the engineer for the drums, you're getting a good setup there.
Right.
It's like having a vocalist mix your vocals, But got those raw tracks from him, and it all came together. But great playing all around, and the band really came together, and we've all really been enjoying the new style of us being able to just put out more music because we're doing it ourselves and being able to really focus on the nuts and bolts.
Yeah, man. Well, you guys have a couple of dates in Colorado there coming up, and you can get involved on the socials. Find all the details about those on your Facebook and Instagram and stuff. But you said possibly gearing up for a little run, a little tour.
Yep. Yeah, we got a couple dates. We're playing tonight actually with Sam LaFalce, who was on our episode with Rastasaurus as our bass player.
Yeah.
So he's subbing in tonight, which is nice. It's a real treat to play with Sammy. And then playing that, and then a New Year's Eve bash where we kind of put a super group together. It's not Justus The Limits, but it's like 3/4 of us and another member or two of another band. And then we have been working with Steph at Siren Sound Music, and she books for us and our buddies Ghost Wave, who is another local kind of reggae, a little more hip hop leaning band. And we are trying to set up a tour in February for 2 to 3 weeks. We're going through the whole South, down through Florida, and I think we might be coming through St. Louis. And either on the way there or the way back, maybe try to hit that, like Rose Music Hall in Columbia, which is me and Sam Niehouse's old stomping grounds from our Mizzou days when we were get down underground. But trying to do that, and it's going to be kind of a unique tour because it's always, with everybody's work schedules and stuff, sometimes it's hard for people to take off, which is one of the main reasons why I really like working for myself is it frees me up to just be like, yeah, boss said it's cool, because I'm boss. Yeah. So, right. We're going to try to do, where our band will lend Sam on the drums to the other band and they'll lend their bass player to us. And then I'll play backing guitar on Nick's Ghostwave set and he'll play it on ours and, harmonize for each person. And we'll be able to have two bands cover shows, two shows at the venue, two different bands in one van with four dudes and be able to just, have a big dirty road trip and have a lot of fun. Yeah. And so, and van life's always fun too. It's always, when you really get along great with people, it's not like a chore to travel. Everybody's in there just like goofing around and cutting up, and it's just fun. Yeah, it's just really freaking fun. I think the last time we recorded with you, we can barely hear anything we said because we're just laughing so hard the whole time. We were just having such a good freaking time, man. Yeah, it's good. Yeah,
that was a fun day. I'm really glad that we met and became friends and everything. So it's cool. That music bringing us together.
Yeah, and it'd be cool. We'd come back and play at the bootleg after that, and it'd be like, oh, there's Shane, man. What's up? That's cool. So
speaking of the van tour life, do you have a go-to snack? Do you have what's your favorite road snack?
Well, for me, I can't eat dairy. I'm allergic to cow's milk. It's not like a lactose thing. I'm just actually allergic to it. And so it limits your options of gas station fare immensely. But let's see here. Road snack. I like the peanut butter filled pretzels.
There you go.
I love those, you can get those. And those are instant fuel. I think we've all eaten so many Cliff Bars. We're sick of them.
All right.
But it's hold on a second. Let me plug this thing in. It's beeping at me here. And road snack. Sometimes, you drink a lot more Red Bull on the road than you ever would. Find a good coffee in the morning. I think the big move though is to have a cooler in there and then to make sandwiches. Because just stock up on good quality lunch meats and stuff and actually have some cut red onion or something in there and make some proper sandwiches, because after a couple of days of eating from a gas station, it's like you're eating styrofoam or something. You're not really getting true nutrition there. But in the words of Sam Niehaus, who's a big proponent of the Fritos, because they have so much more in the bag than chips, which I always liked. I was like, that's a good way to buy chips right there,
Right.
But doing that. And Chipotle, I used to work at a Chipotle in college for 4 years. I was a manager and everything, and I still eat Chipotle. And I know everything that's in the food because I used to work there. And it's really good, really quick, proper food that's actual rice and beans and actual vegetables for you to be able to get a hold of, and back in the day, I don't know if they still do it, but Chipotle you could go and kind of sweet talk the manager and they'd have free burrito bucks for bands. It was one of the programs. So always sorting those out. But
I had a buddy, Steve, used to work at Papa John's, and one time we were in Chicago or something like that, and he went into the store, and obviously being manager forever, he kind of knew the right things to say, and he's like, "Yeah, I'm transferring in. I start Monday. I was wondering if I could get a pizza." And they're like, "Yeah, okay." And then so he made his own pizza, and we walked out, and technically it might be stealing, but it was also a pretty genius move, though.
Yeah. Hey, they said, "Hey, okay."
Yeah. Right.
Yeah. But it's always a challenge to find proper nutrition when you're running and gunning on the road like that. It's for me, it's like I can't sleep in vehicles, but like it's kind of a catch-22 where I have to have sleep in order to sing because my throat won't work if it's not rested.
Right.
So it's always difficult for me to catch up on sleep because I have a really active mind. It's really hard for me to sleep in vehicles. It's like my sense of like self-determination and fatalism won't let me close my eyes, you know.
Yeah.
Like, but yeah. So that is that's about the tour snack rundown. But the peanut butter pretzel pockets that's good solid food.
Yeah. Man, I went to we were just on a run to we went to this like HEV park outside of like Knoxville area, Tennessee. And we stopped at my favorite gas station along the way. We went to Buc-ee's. Then we I don't know, the place is, you're familiar with Buc-ee's? You ever go there?
Is it like a Casey's or something?
What's that?
Is it like a Casey's?
Like Casey's times a 10 or so. Like it's like one of the biggest, most ridiculous gas stations around. Like there's like 100 pumps.
Oh boy.
And the store itself is like, you know, full on grocery store, you know, kind of thing. There's all sorts of different options. And then they have like, well, they got me because like, you know, we rolled in like 5:30 in the morning and there was a guy, they have like this big counter in the middle and they're like, you know, with a chopping block and they're cutting up fresh brisket. And he's like, you know, and he's like, we got fresh brisket on the block. And I'm like, you know, and it just made me laugh that it's like, you know, 5:30 in the morning and they got fresh barbecue ready to go for you. So,
but man, as a trucker, man, that'd be the move right there. Go in nice and late and still have fresh barbecue.
Yeah.
Oh man, yeah.
So I scored some. I didn't get the brisket, but I did get some hot fresh tater tots, and because I was wanting some breakfast stuff, so I was like, I think I got just a burrito.
Yeah.
And but no, yeah, they got a whole like line of merch. Everything's like got this little beaver logo, the Buc-ee's character, and so they have like, you know, literally anything you could imagine with a, you know, Buc-ee's logo on it. So.
Yep. I think the last time we came through, because the twins are both from Connecticut and from way up in the Northeast there, and I don't think they had a lot of access to Steak and Shake.
Okay.
And so when we came through Missouri and like Indiana, we were eating Steak and Shake like crazy, you know, it's like, because they were like, "What is this place? Like patty melt? What's that?" You know? And so yeah, there was a lot of that, but yeah, that
they're kind of hard to find around here now, man. They a lot of I don't know. I think they
still have that one out in Eureka there by Six Flags.
Maybe I don't go that way a whole lot, so I'm not positive. But they I don't know. I think like whoever owns like a lot of the St. Louis ones like kind of went up, and so a lot of the you know, quite a few of the local Steak and Shakes have closed up. So
yeah. Well, to speak about that brisket though, that was something I really miss about Missouri. It's just like quality barbecue, you know, because like. There's so many people that think barbecue is just barbecue. They don't even understand there's different styles of barbecue, all this stuff. And we had barbecue at our wedding, which shout out to Al Holliday stepping in. He officiated our wedding for us.
Oh, very cool.
Which was freaking awesome. The officiator wasn't awesome. She got COVID before, so she couldn't come. And I was like, we had like 140 people there or something. And I was like, which one of my friends can handle his shit in front of 40 people? Al Holliday. All right, get Al up here. Yeah, and he was graciously did it and did an amazing job, and there's some great pictures. But
that guy's just the best. He's one of the coolest.
Yeah, just incredible.
I don't know. Anytime I get a chance, I brag about him. I mean, he's let alone an incredible musician, but you know, just huge heart, man. He was.
Oh yeah.
I don't know. I mean, I talk about it a lot on this show, but my mom got sick in 2019 and was diagnosed with brain cancer, and he came to the hospital and played for her, played some songs for her.
It's a big move, man.
Yeah, I thought that was super cool. And then he also played her funeral, and you know, so it was like, you know, she was a huge fan of his, and that was, it was just really a sweet moment, you know, like, and it just forever, you know, I'm in gratitude towards that man. So he's
well, sorry to hear that. Shane. That's
Yeah, it was
never,
tough, man.
yeah, never easy.
Yeah. So and then we did a big old benefit for mom, and Al played, and like, so I mean, like, I owe so much to him, and I really I'm thankful to have a great friend like that. So it's cool to hear that he stepped up when you were in need too.
Yeah. He has always come through, and it's always been just like totally gracious and offers to like play with us when we're in town, and it's always great to see him. And the first time I ever met Al was in college, and he was dating a girl that lived in our apartment complex that I lived in. And we had a big sloping driveway out there. And he was out there in this little hot rodded red Honda Civic in the parking lot, and it was stuck on the ice or whatever. And so I just, country boy, you just go push some cars, And so I go out there and push this car with Al, and then we just started hanging out. And it was like, right on, dude. He was like, what's up? He's like, how you doing? I'm Al, man. But like, yeah, boy, how the times have changed. That must have been like 2006 or 7 or something,
Right.
back in the day. But yeah, amazing dude, incredible human, and incredible musician. But he has that gift of gab. You can just sit there and talk with him about anything forever.
Oh, yeah.
It's such a great gift to have.
Yeah, man. So I don't know if we might have touched on it in your previous appearance, but I know, like you mentioning having ties to Mizzou and in the area, but so you didn't grow. Did you grow up here, or did you moved here, or did you come here for school?
So I was born in the town of Eminence, Missouri.
Okay.
On a farm. My parents were kind of like the hippies that hit the woods real hard, kind of back to nature. And so, I mean, Eminence is really small. It was like 550 people when I grew up there, and they were all, third cousins or whatever. They're all kind of related down there because it's just a small area. And then here we are, the hippie kids moving in with no TV, no microwave, and like didn't go to church or nothing. It was we stuck out like a sore thumb. But yeah, so I grew up down there. Graduated from Eminence R1 High School in 2005. And I'm the baby in my family. I have an older brother and an older sister. And so my brother had gone to Mizzou in 93 or so, and my sister had gone to SEMO. And my dad had got a master's in social work from SEMO back in the day. But so I went to Mizzou, and that's where I ended up meeting Sam. I ended up just kind of starting writing music. My dad got sick and passed away when I was 21. And it was like a long thing that happened, but it's still, you don't realize things like that. You don't realize how things affect you like that until you can, years in the future, look back at the things you were doing, the way you were acting, and why you were doing that. You thought you were handling it fine in my case, and I was just like, man, was I just like flailing in space and time there. But something that came out of that was I just kind of like, I had a laptop go down and lost all my music, and I'd stopped playing guitar for like a good year and a half. And so I forgot all the covers I knew. And so when I picked it back up, I just started writing songs. And, of course, with everything going on in my life at the point, a lot of my early songs are incredibly morbid. But yeah, I just started writing music. And then I started playing at the Blue Fugue in Columbia, open mic nights with my acoustic, and everybody was like, dude, these songs rock. You got to get a band. So I ended up, through like, kind of like STL punk page. It was like Como Music, it was, I started kind of accumulating musicians into the orbit, and ended up meeting Sam, who was drumming for Reelfoot at the time. And through our guitar player, Patrick Smith, who now lives in New Orleans, plays a couple groups, used to play with a group called Greasy Alice. And so, yeah, we just kind of got the band together. And then after I graduated, I was a little older. I graduated first, and I decided I just need to find a bigger market for it to try to take this thing to something and move to Denver. But yeah, I born and raised Eminence, Missouri, and down in the Jacks Fork River. Went to Swagstock. I've been to probably like 17, 18 Swagstocks.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, because it was like 10 miles north of my town. Swagstock honestly changed my life, which is a kind of a crazy thing to say, but I had never had any access to like the Grateful Dead kind of hippie scene that my parents were part of and were aware of, but I'd never actually had the opportunity to go to like a proper festival with like a proper like bands and like that Grateful Dead music. And man, once I got a hold of that, it was just like, it changed my whole outlook and of what fun could be and what music could be, and it kind of started the kernel in my brain of like sitting there watching that being like, man, it'd be fun to be up there on stage.
Right.
So like, kind of that. And then like seeing bands in Columbia too, like Zap and ZAP with Junior and all of them and Real Foot play and stuff and throw these rich, like bitchin' parties, and be like, man, it'd be fun to play, fun to jam up there.
Yeah.
But it just all kind of happened. But yeah, so I went to Mizzou. I was a super senior. I got a degree in plant science. And so I went to school for landscape design, which is I run a landscaping business now. So I actually ended up using what I went to school for, which is a rarity these days. It took me a long time to get there. But so yeah, I did that. And I won a design contest at Mizzou. So my landscape design is the design out in front of the ag building.
Oh, nice.
So yeah, I won. It was like the first time in 50 years they'd had a landscape design contest for it, and I ended up winning it. So my little piece of rock right there. If you ever met Mizzou campus, but yeah, it was wonderful too. It was a beautiful spot, but to get a agriculture education, there's a lot of money in the ag school. And so the education is really high quality. And then the campus itself is a registered botanical garden. And so all the plants are labeled. And so if you really want to learn plant identification, it's a breeze to go out there with your professor and walk around. And then you can walk back by that plant, see what it looks like in the winter, see what it looks like in the fall, So yeah, it was I really enjoyed my time at Mizzou, and I really enjoyed the quality of the education I received there. I was an art kid when I went to school. I was in an art program for a year and realized I didn't really want to do that. And I was like, well, I want to draw with plants. And so I thought they would, landscape design. I was like, wow, whatever, like, finger on the book, like the Commodores picking up a band name. And, so they put me in the ag school, and that was the first time, because my high school education was at such a small school, the science and math education was not the best. And that was the first time I'd ever got a hold of a proper science teacher and realized I was like really into science and got hooked on science. So yeah, that was the whole journey in and of itself. Yeah, man. But I do miss the barbecue in Missouri, like you were talking about with that truck stop in Tennessee.
Yeah.
My mom used to live in Vichy for a while after my dad passed away. She had a house out in Vichy, which is this tiny little town on 63 between Rolla and Jeff City. And they had, I think it was Vienna right up north of there, they had just a G&W Foods grocery store that in the back of it just had some counter that had like the best brisket and pulled pork you could have, just on little styrofoam trays packed like it was corn at the produce section. And you could go up there and just get a mess of good barbecue at this like seemingly innocuous like grocery store, you're like incredible stuff. But But yeah, Missouri, I don't miss how hot the summers get with the humidity. I don't miss how cold the winters get with the humidity. But I miss when I go back there how green it is, and I miss all the noises of the insects. I miss it so bad.
Yeah, man. I don't know. It's all I know. I mean, I've lived here all my life, so. But I often, I don't know that I could move for long. I mean, it'd be fun to visit and travel and maybe try something different for a while, but I do really like it here a lot. Like it's home obviously, but it's kind of what's nice is we got a little bit of everything. We don't have the ocean, but we have a lot of really nice lakes and everything else. And you got your mountain, not mountains necessarily, but big rocks for sure. So.
Well, the Ozark Mountains they're barely mountains. They're just so old. I always describe them as the tooth of an old hound that's been chewing on rocks.
Yeah.
But yeah, it is beautiful there. And there's a lot of biodiversity. I was just having a talk with somebody. We were at a friend's house at it was their birthday party, and they live, I think kind of close to Dogtown is where we were. But, we were over there, and I was talking to another guy, and he had some fact that from some Missouri Conservation Department fact or something that I think it was like in a 1 square mile area of water, or like a 3 foot square area of water, some small area of water square, there was like more biodiversity there than any other freshwater place. It
Oh,
was like
wow.
all these facts like that, that come. Or I think we also have the most aquatic biodiversity outside of Florida in the United States, just because of like, where I'm from, spring-fed rivers and little small mountains and oak hardwood forest. But you get up to the north and there's prairie and
Mhm.
like there's so many different biomes in Missouri, and there's so much going on. And you come back there from Denver and you're like, whoa, like, was it this loud before? You're just like, there's so much life.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's
Yeah, man.
beautiful. It's truly beautiful to see all that green. Yeah.
Yeah. You you said something also about before we hit record about like kind of renting a house in the woods and just plugging in and recording and stuff, and like Airbnb thing. And is that like I hear stories of like Foo Fighters did that, like got like they rented some house that was like, I think it was like the wasn't like or maybe it was Nirvana, or that did like the Manson house.
I think it was the Chili Peppers, right? Or I
Yeah.
don't know if it's a Manson house. I know Chili Peppers did Blood Sugar, Blood Sugar Sex Magic, I think, in I think they did that in a mansion that they had rented, and they were doing all this weird shit. But
Yeah.
all those bands used to do that.
I think I'm pretty sure I was. I heard Dave Grohl saying something like that, like Nirvana recorded something in like the Manson family house and stuff, or something like that. And
Yeah.
but like I don't know. Is that like something? Do you get it? Do you let Speaking of like the nature and everything, like, do you let your surroundings kind of do they influence you like that? Could you go out into the woods and make a completely different record than if you were like in a Manson house? Do you think it would all have an impact on what you recorded?
I think it would, because when I first started to play and first started to write songs, I would go out to the woods with my guitar. I would go out to Moss Creek. I forget what the little park was behind Moss Creek, but kind of like a Cape and Park area of Mizzou. And I would go out there and play, or play on my back porch a lot. And it's something, I live in a busier neighborhood in Denver and I have a back porch, but it's like, if I go out there, we're kind of on a hill, we're seeing into everybody's backyard around us. We're hearing the highway over here, there's jets going over. It's not the same effect. You're more like you're at the top of this neighborhood and you're very visible, as opposed to like just being out there in nature by yourself and like recording. But yeah, something about sitting in green grass with your legs crossed on a guitar, it's just so peaceful. But I was, yeah, and the houses for me is like, I wanted to go to the mountains because we had some friends and they Airbnb this house outside of Breckenridge it's a big mansion. And they have just a big, wonderful party up there every year. They Airbnb this thing. They have a good relationship with the people that own it. And, like 12 of us go up there and rent this thing. But inside of it is like a 2.5-story tall atrium with a rock wall on one side in the living room. And it's just huge. And it almost has like this like choir performance hall effect that I was playing. I have a really nice Martin my dad left me, and I was playing that in there. It just sounded freaking incredible. And so I was like, man, the acoustics in here. And I've been for a long time wanting to record kind of a folk rock album that is just kind of me and a guitar, a bunch of harmonies, kind of like a Crosby, Stills type of thing, but with like a little less going on. And I've been wanting to record that, and I kind of got like a concept for it. It'd be, I think I would call it a tent preacher would be what the album would be called. And I got like what I would do in front of the cover, find some old house in this neighborhood. And there's this guy in my neighborhood that has like this really sweet old Cadillac that's all white with the diplomatic flags on the front. And I would go out there and like get all dressed up, be leaning up against it in front of this like old creepy building with like a guitar. Like, I got all that part planned. I just don't have the songs. And so I've been wanting to for a long time, because this new audio hardware that I've been working with, I have it in a road case, like a nice SQB road case, and it's all rack mounted. So I would just take a mic, take the hardware, set up a couple GoPros, go up there and try to get like a little mini documentary to of the writing process, you know, because I'm obsessed with 60s and 70s musicians. I watch a lot of old rock documentaries, and like I really, especially the one that comes to mind that I really enjoy is the making of Dark Side of the Moon, where they're at Abbey Road Studios and they have David Gilmour playing the solo. And it's like going around the studio, and it's like, this is the making of, you know, the Stones have a lot of stuff where making Sympathy for the Devil, and they got that going on. And so that stuff always fascinates me as a watcher. And so, you know, you always try to emulate the things you like. And, I think it would be really good. And it's really hard for me, even with my wife in the house, you know, it's hard for me to, if she's here, I don't fluidly write lyrics as much just freestyling as I would if I was just by myself. Because like a little part of your brain is like, oh, you can't sound that crazy. You know, you're going to think you're crazy. You know, so it's nice to kind of be out there by yourself and to start throwing noodles at the wall and no one has to hear it. You know,
Right.
like it's liberating. And it really allows you, like I always say, you know, a lot of my songwriting technique is just, I'll start playing something and I'll just start spitballing words that sound cool together. You know, it's like a Dr. John approach. It's like, we're not saying anything. We're just like, these words sound great. You know,
Yeah.
my shark skin look better than your Levi skin, you know, but like, so that's like, I think it would help kind of invigorate and like really fit my writing process to just go up there, be there for one reason, have all this beautiful nature around you, this beautiful sounding space. Cause I'm like kind of an audiophile. So like this, everything sounding, and they have this beautiful guitar that you could just like play G on all day cause it sounds so nice, and just put it on record and just see what happens. And just, if I record one track, even if I just get the framework for all the tracks and to come back and record the parts, even if I just record scratches or if I just focus on one thing, but whatever it would be and then document it, I think that would be not only a cool experiment, but kind of a marketable thing as a musician. And it would help me achieve this like kind of solo album thing that would have some songs that necessarily wouldn't fit the band. Like I wrote a country song last year that's like a real like drum rolling country song, but it's like we can't obviously play that with our band. It's not really like the right spot for it, but it's a really good song. It's called Country Boy in the City on the Run, and it's a really good song, but there's not really a place for it. And that's another reason coming back to the band change thing was I realized I wanted to start releasing music as Justus Lacewell and releasing like folk rock music kind of thing every once in a while and have the ability to release a single. And I wouldn't want to release a single myself that we couldn't promote with the band and every release is a different version with the band because the two projects are different. I wanted to all be tying back into the same thing. So, but yeah, that's been kind of a pipe dream I've had for a while. And, so if I could make that happen, that would be really, really cool. Be a really cool thing, but yeah, it'd be a big goal of mine to try to work that out. And I think it'd be great content as well.
Yeah, man. Well, let's do it.
Yeah.
That sounds cool to me.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. I hopefully we can make that happen.
I'll let you know, man. I'll send you some tracks or something.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm like you're saying, like the behind the scenes. I mean, that's really the gist of this show. Really, like, you know, getting to talk about some of this stuff that we don't always get to talk about. You know, it's like it's just kind of fun to nerd out a little bit on behind the scenes of what's going on. I really like diving into lyrics and stuff like that, and you know, just kind of that's where my brain goes. I'm a big fan of storytelling and songwriting, so you know, it's just but yeah, it's just fun. It's be great to document that, like I said, in some video and everything else process.
Visually seeing what's happening in the studio while they're recording these songs that you've only heard through your ears. Yeah. And then you get to see what that person looked like while they were doing that. You know, it's like the Steely Dan dudes have a really great behind the album on Asia. And I guess they brought in a whole different band every track. And they had Michael McDonald singing backups, and they were like, it was like Walter there with the slider being like, sorry, Michael. And he's just like making him sing the backup on Peg the whole time, you know, but it's just Michael isolated. But the big story they have from that is they brought Bernard Purdie in to play drums, and they were sitting there laughing at the console because they said Bernard Purdy showed up. He sets his drum set up, and he sets up two signs on either side of the drum set. And on this side it says "You done did it," and on this side it says "You hired Bernard Purdy, the hitmaker." Played the whole session with these two signs, and then he packed it all up and went, but it's like you never get that listening to it, but it's like just having knowledge that was what went on. It just makes it so much more hilarious and makes Bernard Purdy that much more hilarious, and just makes it just fleshes out this whole like kind of mythos of the album that's really you don't get just audibly.
Yeah. I don't know. Those are fun stories. I know there's you hear it on the recording, but I love hearing those like things like that too. Like in was it in Sweet Emotion when they have that what's blanking on the name of the instrument now. I can't think of what the hell it's called. Where it's like that percussion instrument where it slaps, vibra slap.
Oh, vibra slap.
Yeah, there it is. Hey,
I am just a sucker for a vibra slap. That's when I was a kid. I was like, dude, that sounds cool.
Well, I guess like in that recording, like it breaks, and you can hear it like tink, tink, and like hitting the ground and stuff. So I think that's fun to hear those little rock and roll stories like that. Like it's like obviously they left it in the recording and. And then another one I think is fun is I think like and again it would be fun to see the video of it all happening to go with the audio, but like the Police, I think in Roxanne, I think it is when Sting's laughing, there's like the keys and he laughs, he like actually accidentally set on the piano, and like they left it all in the recording and stuff too, and
just happened to be in the right key, and they were like,
right, just like this random like keys notes, and he just starts laughing about it, and like they left it all in the take and stuff. So I don't know, that stuff is always like cool.
It's
to
like
me.
when we were kids and we got the bonus features on the DVD.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
it's the same. It's the same thing. It's like, or reading liner notes or any of that stuff. It's just like I love geeking out on all that stuff. So.
Oh yeah, man, liner notes. I haven't thought about that in a while.
Yeah, man. It's one of my I spent a lot of time as a kid doing that. Like you get a record that that you really love, and you sit there and you just studied it. Like you said, you know all those names of those guys. Like I feel like most people only know the voice maybe or whatever, like who's the one singing the song, who's the names on the CD or whatever. But it's like, that's one of the things you learned is if you're reading all that stuff, you learned all the players and stuff. And you start realizing like, oh, these guys all played on this, a bunch of different records and stuff.
Right. Yeah. It's like the Leon Russell self-titled album has like, he had been a backing musician for so many people in Hollywood that they all came and played, and it's got like George Harrison on it. It's got all these people on it, and just a star-studded cast, you don't realize it. Or the Buddy Guy album, Damn Right I Got the Blues. It has Jeff Beck and Clapton playing on it, just as members of the band on certain tracks. But once you know that, you're like, you can hear the solo and be like, oh, that's definitely Jeff Beck. That's like, he's the only person that plays like that. It's like his tone and everything. Yeah, it's really cool. Bring it all together. Yeah, the liner notes. I always liked it when they had the lyrics in them too, which made for a big liner book. But like, you could like flip. I think one of the Sublime albums, it was like the self-titled or something that had the lyrics printed, and you could like flip through it and like read what they were saying. And it's so easy not to get them wrong or like misconstrue what they're saying. Like it's like nobody's out here like yelling about like that Stevie Miller Band, a big old jet airliner, and somebody thinks it's like Big Old Cat Has a Light On or something. At the bar arguing.
I can't think of what the particular instance was, but that just came up a little bit ago in the car. Some came on the radio. Again, I wish I could think of the song, but Stacy started singing along, and whatever she said, and I was like, "What did you just say?" And
excuse me.
And then she's like, "Yeah, I said, it's this," and I was like, "No." So it made me laugh. Just like people do those misheard lyrics are a very real thing.
Oh, I remember being a little boy and singing that John Prine song, "You Ain't Going Nowhere," and just belting out top of my lungs the half an inch of water as half an enchilada. And it's just the funniest thing when I was a kid. It's like, this song's speaking to me, bro. I love enchiladas.
Yeah. I did that a lot. Like I'll just kind of make my own parody versions of songs and stuff. Like, and I don't know. I feel like maybe that's part of it. Like maybe I don't know. Sometimes I feel like it almost works too good to like not be part of the thought process. It's like when, something like that, like maybe he said enchilada and then he's like, no, I can't put enchilada in a song.
Exactly.
Like when you're saying like you how you write, like just putting some words that sound cool in there and then figuring it out what, maybe he was like, let's just figure out what works also that sounds kind of like that. And
it's like, it's got the rhythm. It's spot.
But I don't know, and it's just fun though. So that's this music's cool, man. I dig it.
Yeah, it really is. It's constantly evolving, but it's all the same in a lot of ways. It's just makes people feel things, which is cool, and it makes people think, which is cool.
Yeah, man.
A literary format like that.
Well, I got a couple questions I've been asking, and
all right,
I've been having fun with these, and get your take on some of this stuff. And but one I get a kick out of is if the day comes along, we get a Justus Lacewell or Justus in the Limits action figures. What would you like to see as your like 3 accessories to go with your action figure?
Oh, with my action figure? Ooh. Oh, man. I think top of the list, number 1, would be a spilled beer.
Yeah.
Because it would be like a glass that was like had the puddle flat so you could lay it down flat on the ground.
Right.
So a spilled beer on the stage. Let's see here. Oh, man. Wow, Rick put me on the spot here, Shade. It would be a free merch T-shirt that I was giving away.
There you go.
I just can't seem to ever sell merch. I just like everything's a billboard. I'm just giving this away, and so a comped merch T-shirt, and then the artist drink tickets that they give you.
Yeah.
That look like the old raffle tickets from the fair.
All right.
Those would be my 3 items. Yeah, 3 accessories.
Nice.
Yeah. Or for an option, I've been kind of geeking out recently and bought a pair of shoes that I only wear on stage that I keep in a box otherwise. So that could be the vanity accessory.
Yeah. I like that as a little more creative. And then I get a lot of just a microphone and guitar. And I'm like, well, yeah, that's that's pretty standard.
That's standard equipment for the action figure.
Right.
We're talking that Ninja Turtle that you put the strip through the back to make it talk.
Oh yeah, man. Yeah, we. I mean, that's the thing. I think we grew up on that era. Like of course, like it's still a thing, but definitely the Ninja Turtles and Power Rangers and all that stuff. Everybody had collecting those as kids, and
my houseplants are still full of army men.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Around because it's just funny.
Yeah, for sure.
There's a whole scene in there, a little microcosm.
All right. What about we mentioned a whole lot of names and earlier, but is there a dream duet or collaboration you would love to see for yourself or for the band?
Man. I don't know. I've been really respecting Stephen Stills as a songwriter, and I would love to do a duet with Stephen Stills because I recently, through Spotify's wonderful feature where they just start throwing albums at you after you're done with the album, I stumbled onto his second Manassas, this group he had called Manassas album, and it has a song So Many Times. The album's called Down the Road, but it has a song So Many Times, and it's just such a gorgeous song. It's just unbelievably. It's like one of those songs that like every once in a while you hear a song and you just keep running it back and keep running it back and you just can't stop listening to it. You don't know what you're like, my God, the combination, but I really like the way that he writes music, and I like the way he sings. And so, yeah, Stephen Stills as a duet, that would be incredible. Let's see, as a band. Oh man. It'd be cool to do something like if all these bands still existed, it would be really cool to see the guys in our band mesh with players like the Led Zeppelin dudes.
Yeah.
Because one thing I really like about our sound is sometimes it gets into a more hard rock area, kind of the sound that Zeppelin kind of pioneered. And we're obviously just, copying feels in our brains that were put there from albums we listened to 1,000 times before. And, but it'd be really cool to have like that or like Humble Pie, like post Frampton, like the Smoking era of Humble Pie, to like have a collaboration with that band. It'd be like playing with Faces. It's not quite the Stones or anything, but that would be just a wonderful. It would be so cool just to rock so hard.
Yeah.
So hard with that. It'd be kind of like I also found this amazing song the other day by Robin Trower called Two Rolling Stoned. And he was like, I think he was kind of feted as like the white Hendrix for a long time in those circles in the 70s. But if you guys haven't checked that out, Two Rolling Stoned, really incredible song by Robin Trower. But it just has that delicious like 70s kind of like hard rock stripped down feel, and yeah, that would be an incredible way to collaborate there.
Yeah, that all sounds cool, man.
The Eagles too. Most people laugh. I love the freaking Eagles, man.
Yeah.
I was just learning how to play Take It to the Limit the other day, and it's just like that song especially, but the Eagles were so good at playing all these country waltzes from their earlier days that like you hit every chord in the scale walking around that song, you're like hitting them all. It's like so many chords. But yeah, I watched that documentary, The History of the Eagles. I was a big Eagles hater, man. Big hater. I was like, this top 40 dad rock, blah, blah, and I watched that documentary, The History of the Eagles Part 1, and I just kept watching it. It was like the first time I ever read Life by Keith Richards. And I just kept reading it, kept watching it. And then after that, huge Eagles fan now. And so I really feel like the Eagles and the Rolling Stones really influenced a lot of the kind of the classic rock songs I write. I have some classic rock songs that are heavy. I have some classic rock songs that are more of that kind of Stonesy Eagles variety in that way. And yeah, I really could feel the influence there. But that would be an amazing collaboration with just being able to harmonize with those dudes.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Man, I worked with this guy for a summer, and that's like all he listened to was the Eagles' like greatest hits on repeat for the whole summer. Yeah. And I'm like, I love the Eagles too, but I'm like, there's a point where I like just snap and I'm like, I can't take it anymore, man. Like,
put something else out, bro.
Yeah. Like, I mean, like you just ruin these great songs for me. It's like that. I don't, so it took me quite a while to listen to the Eagles again after that. Yeah. But I'm with you. I mean, people do kind of rip on them a lot, but it's, but those are great songs, man. You can't help it, but
yeah. Our very first bass player in college, Dave Barbaro, he was like 45 or something. And I remember being like 20 and this dude's talking and he's like, man, who's really good, man? The Eagles, bro. Yeah. I'm like, get out of here. And he's like, yeah, but you never really listen. You never really understand how many hit songs in your head they wrote.
Oh yeah.
That you don't even realize are the Eagles. You're just like, but you like really did like had so many hits. It's like the first Boston album. There's like, I think all the songs but one on that first Boston album were singles. Like they were just that good. Tom Schultz was that good.
Yeah.
But yeah, the songs can get wore out. That's an issue with me working by myself. I don't listen to as much music when I work anymore. It's mostly podcasts and audiobooks.
Yeah.
And so I listen to a lot of Behind the Bastards. I listen to a lot of Clive Cussler audiobooks. They're kind of like a really cheesy underwater James Bond archaeology Indiana Jones character, always saving the world, blah, blah, blah. But it's fun. You like put it on, you're out there pulling weeds, you put it on autopilot. And but the first year of my business was me like burning my Spotify library down to a little crisp and getting tired of it. And then, and looking for other stuff to listen to, which is nice that Spotify in general is not, I'm not trying to hark for them because they don't pay for crap, but they put out that they put a prediction, almost like a Pandora type of thing at the end of the album you listen to, and you discover a lot of really good music from that. And I've discovered a real good another track I've been bumping really hard is "What You See Is What You Get" by the Dramatics. That track is real good. Yeah, it's like a real classic, funky, like 70s funk, just grimy beat, and it has a lot of cool backup vocals and really cool stuff.
Yeah, you do you know Sean Cannon?
Not personally, but I know who he is. Yeah, the Voodoo Players, and he had the swag for a while, right?
Yeah. He so here he does the Voodoo Players, and he every Wednesday it's like at Oyster Bar was like he just did Zeppelin. He did Tom Petty last night. He's done Bob Dylan, Bob Marley, Stones, whatever. I mean, all the greats and stuff. But that's I worked with him for like 5 years at the bar down there, and so I got to see the show every Wednesday night, and that was kind of you talking about like you forget how many hits the Eagles had. Like that's what's fun about those nights for me was like when he, I'm not like a huge Paul Simon fan. I know the hits, but it's like then he starts playing Graceland and stuff like, oh, I know these songs. It's like, and then same thing with Petty. I mean, of course you think Free Fallin' and there's whatever, but then he's
first song I ever played on the guitar.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah.
And then he goes like 3 hours and you're like, man, I know every one of these songs. Like they're all like burned in your brain.
Well, and Petty's interesting for me because I was kind of a hater on him, like I was kind of on the Eagles. But the more I age and the more I actually start listening to Petty, I'm like, well, it has an 80s package, but it's good quality rock and roll.
Yeah.
Great songwriting and great hooks. Yeah. Really.
Oh,
incredible.
Yeah. Yeah. It's, man, what's, now that I'm thinking about, but you talking about like you got that one song and you just like listen to it on repeat over and over and like, I did that a little while back with a Petty song, time to Move On.
Oh, I'm not familiar.
And I don't know, it just, I think that's the title of the song. Something, I'm blanking on it right now. That's what I do. I go to think of a reference, and that's when my mind will just go blank. But
oh yeah, I got to listen to a song at least like before I even hear the words. I'm usually so obsessed with how the voice sounds as a melody instrument that I can hum it, but I don't know any of the words. They're always making fun of me in the band that I'm so bad with words of songs I didn't write.
Yeah. But that was one of Petty's. That one was pretty recently one. I was just like, there was one day I just like listened to it on a loop for a while and just like, but I know it's fun when those songs find you, man, when they just kind of, this has been out for 30, 40 years or whatever, and all of a sudden like you just discover it and it's a cool feeling, man.
Yeah, it truly is. Well, and it goes back to like, if there's a video there and they're recording it, what do they look like? They would like, you hear it, it sounds so modern in your ears. It sounds like a guitar, but it's like, you don't realize they're all wearing polyester, like cardigan, giant lapels, and like all this stuff and just smoking the hell out of cigarettes in the studio. And like all this. Yeah. It's just like this whole, it transcends the era almost with the high quality audio. I was just watching the Hard Day's Night that my father-in-law was showing me, Hard Day's Night, the Beatles movie, back in the day. And these guys are just little kids, but like the songs they're writing is like they released on that. So good, such good. Even if it's the cheesy, like mind awakening psychedelic Beatles, the songs are still amazing, and you're like, wow, dude. And to write these at like 20 or, or 18, blowing my mind, it's like Steve Winwood singing, Give Me Some Lovin' when he's like 18.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which is incredible.
Yeah. Yeah. His voice is like, huge on that. And like all those recordings. And I'm like, it's weird to think that he's, like, a little kid still.
The Box Top dudes with the letter, that guy was like really young singing that, the Alex, what's his name? The singer they were from Memphis. He went on to be in a band called Big Star, I believe. I watched some whole documentary about him and it was really funny because it was like when TGI Fridays came into Memphis and like that was their hangout spot. It was like the 70s, like, hey, let's go to TGI Fridays and kick it, you know. It's like it was the most in the modern world. It's like the most un-rock and roll thing you could do. You know, we were hanging out at TGI Fridays. But yeah, those dudes were so young singing those, and you're like, and like, yeah, Winwood sounds like an old man, you know, singing that, old beyond his years.
I think it's funny. We started with box tops, and we're, you know, come full circle.
Yeah. Watch out, Rick Levy's going to be sending me another email. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Well, man, this has been an incredible day. I'm really.
Thanks, man. We've had a great talk, man. It's been. Thanks for having me on here. Rock Paper Podcast.
Oh yeah.
Yep.
But yeah, get plugged in. Justus and the Limits on all your digital platforms, all wherever you get your music at. Yep. You can.
JUSTUS.
Yeah.
Yep.
And hopefully, man, like I said, hopefully we'll get you on the road here, starting off the new year, and hopefully coming to St. Louis so we can hang out and catch up in person, and that'd be fun.
Yeah, hobnob and hee-haw, you know.
Yeah.
Stuff.
But I appreciate you, buddy. Man, it's been a great day. Thanks for doing this.
Appreciate you too, man. It's been great, and thanks for having me on Rock Paper once again, man. I'll have to bump that shirt proudly.
Yeah, man. I got a little Shaney shirt for you when you come to town.
There we go. We go. I want that one of you in the little Debbie outfit.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's a little...
Yeah, man. It's a hot item, dude. That's going to be on eBay in 65 years as like a gold platinum seller right there, man.
Yeah. All right. Well, thanks, everybody. Thanks, Justus, and I'll see you soon, my friend.
I do.
Bye, everybody.
Bye-bye.